We begin with election matters, where voting is holding today in 26 states of the Federation for the election of federal and state legislatures in Nigeria, while the rerun election is necessitated by voluntary resignation or death of duly elected representatives. By-elections were ordered by the courts in disputed areas. Correspondent Niyomoni gives us an overview of the exercise going on this morning.
The by-election will take place across 9 states of the Federation. The vacancies were created by the resignation and death of elected members after the February 25, 2023 general election. 2 seats are vacant in the Senate due to resignation by elected senators who took up their appointment in the executive arm of government. 4 seats became vacant in the House of Representatives due to resignations and 1 due to death. In Ebonyi, a court nullified the PDP candidate Silas Onu's candidacy in the February 3rd Enugu South senatorial by-election for failing to conduct a proper primary election. Onu, in his reaction, said the judgment given 2 days before the election was to create confusion in the process and ensure that his supporters were discouraged from voting. For now, his name remains on the ballot. In Yobe East, 5 political parties will participate in the by-elections to be held in 8 local government areas to fill a vacant senatorial seat. In Kebbi, by-elections will be held in Yari and Shanga Federal Constituency to fill the vacancy created by the Minister of State for Education, Yusuf Tanko Senono, who was appointed by President Tinubu. The Lagos by-election in Surulere 1 constituency aims to fill the seat left vacant after former House of Representatives Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila was appointed Chief of Staff to President Bola Tinubu. 13 political parties will contest the Akoko Northeast and Northwest Federal Constituency by-election in Ondo State to replace Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who was appointed Minister for Interior. In Taraba State, all the major candidates for Jalingo Yoro Zing Federal Constituency seat are Muslims from the Jalingo local government area, while the only Christian candidate, Jayabang, has the backing of his Momoye tribal people. Many say the election has tribal and religious undertones. The by-election aims to fill the vacancy created by the death of Honorable Ismail Ameyanchi. In Benue State, the APC fields a candidate alongside other parties for the vacant Guma Wen State constituency seat after the previous representative was appointed Commissioner for Health and Human Services in the state. In Kaduna State, 4 candidates have stepped down in support of the APC candidate Jesse Tanko for the Chikum constituency seat in the State House of Assembly. For the rerun to be held on the same day, it will take place at designated constituencies and polling units as ordered by the Election Appeals Tribunals. Meanwhile, the call by some to conduct by-elections to replace the 27 vacant constituencies of lawmakers who defected in the Rivers State House of Assembly was not considered by INEC. In all, the elections will fill vacancies in 3 senatorial districts, 17 federal and 28 state constituencies spread across 80 local government areas. There are 575 registration areas and 8,934 polling units. Out of the 4.9 million registered voters, 4.6 million people who have picked up their permanent voters card are expected to vote. Observers say the elections are a litmus test for INEC as it plans for the forthcoming off-cycle governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states in September and November respectively. In Lagos for News Central, Niyomoni.
We also tell you that the Independent National Electoral Commission says it is investigating election disruptions that occurred during the rerun and by-elections in Enugu, Akwa-Ibom and Kano states. The commission disclosed this via its X handle on Saturday. The rerun by-elections are currently holding across 26 states in the country. The elections are holding in 80 local government areas across 575 registration areas and 8,934 polling units. In Nigeria's southwest, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Afemighie Jerry, shared his thoughts on the ongoing election.
It's been quite swift, very sharp, no delays at all. The process has been as expected. They've done well. With what I've seen so far, they've done well, and I hope that they will continue the free and fair process to the end. Yeah, if they do, I'm quite confident they've done well done. It's rather long. I would just appeal to people to come out. We will still have time. It's just about 9 o'clock. The elections are still until like 2 o'clock.
Also in the country's southeast, the People's Democratic Party's candidate for Enugu South urban constituency, Sam Ikechukwu Ngene, spoke on the election.
EO presented the result sheet to the agents, and they all signed for him that they've seen it. That's for the local government office. Now they should have allowed the people that came to conduct the election to settle. Would they just come and begin to bring out result sheet? They need to put the table in place. They need to put the chairs. They need to put other things, the ballot boxes. They didn't allow that. Is it not one thing after another? Why are they jumping the gun? Who is saying that? If you say it is not there, is it by making noise, clustering people from other wards to come and create problem here? They should have allowed the INEC finish their job. Then at the point of starting the voting, you now say, yeah, gentlemen, let me see.
The rerun elections in Plateau North Senatorial Zone was greeted by a very high level of voter apathy. Many polling units had very few voters who came out to exercise their civic responsibility, with just a few having a reasonable number of voters. However, electoral officers arrived in good time with the voting materials, which have not given any significant challenge since the exercise began in the morning. Security operatives are fully on ground to ensure the maintenance of law and order in all the councils where these electronic are to be used. New Central Chizobanyawe reports that there is a high level of compliance to restrictions on both human and vehicular movement, as announced by the Plateau State Police Command.
The arrangement done by INEC is good, even though we still have some units that they have not reported. We're hoping that they will report because people are eager to vote, and you can see people are orderly here. You see that most of the polling units here do not even have security agencies, but people are conducting themselves in an orderly manner, which means democracy is gaining ground among the people, which also means that the people are eager to exercise their democratic rights.
Let's now cross over to northeast Nigeria, where correspondent Umaru Kirawa in Borno State now brings us the latest update. Hello, Kirawa, can you hear me? Of course, we can see you now. So where exactly are you? And what is the update on, of course, in your area, looking at the election as it is set to still be ongoing?
Well, thank you very much. I am in Borno State, and it's a well-known fact that in Borno, particularly in Chibok local government area, the by-election is going, which was necessitated by the vacancy resulting from the death of the winner of the 2023 House of Assembly election, late Dr. Nuhu Clark. And as per constitutional requirements, the by-election is holding. Presently, some polling units have concluded, while others are at the peak of rounding up the election, the voting process. By and large, the exercise is being conducted peacefully amidst heavy security presence, and it's a good news that the election is holding in Chibok, because it's a well-known fact that recently insurgents have invaded the local government area and they have caused havoc to the people. Despite that, persons have come out to cast their ballot, but both natural, there have been low voter turnout in the area. But largely, the exercise was conducted peacefully, and a lot of things were linked to the low voter turnout. As I've been communicating with some of them, some tell me that because of the fear, despite the fact that there have been a lot of security presence, and of course, some are battling to survive, looking at the socioeconomic situation in the country. Some of them, they said they prefer to go to their farms rather than to come and then cast their ballot. But largely, the problem was caused majorly, I think, because of the lack of adequate awareness, which the electoral umpire need to do a lot, and of course, civil society organizations, particularly now that security are there in Chibok. We hope the security situation will be maintained and people will continue to go about their normal day-to-day activities. And of course, we hope the election will be concluded very soon. And in addition to this, Yobe is our neighbor, and of course, information reaching me from Yobe, where in the eastern part of Yobe senatorial district, election is also going on, which was necessitated by the when Senator Ibrahim Gaidam was appointed as Minister of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, thereby making Mustafa Musa, a former commissioner, slogging out with PDP candidate Kolomi Aji, as well as NNPP candidate Mohammed Adamu and others. And in Yobe too, the exercise is being conducted peacefully, but Yobe too witnessed low voter turnout. There have been similar complaints of low voter turnout in Yobe. But the good side of it is here in the Northeast, things are picking up in gradually, because even Gujiba, which was resettled recently, they are also partaking in the election process. So we say kudos to INEC and all other stakeholders, but actually more need to be done in terms of awareness, sensitization, and engagement with the population.
Okay, Umaru Kirawa, thank you so much for giving us the updates. We'll definitely keep tabs with you during the course of the day. Thank you very much. Many thanks for staying with us, still bringing you updates as regards the rerun and by-elections in about 9 states in Nigeria. There was a little drama at Enugu Ward 5, which has 8 polling units. Residents were seen protesting non-availability of original result sheets after the REC asked them to use replacement documents. In the meantime, we understand that rerun in Enugu South Urban State constituency may have been suspended. We will bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. Well, News Central's Adeshawa Dushoga spoke to us from Surulere, Lagos, and we have the updates.
So we are now at Rando Primary School, where the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, that's Fuad Labuda, just voted earlier this morning. And he voted right here at this polling unit number 6. The voter turnout here is quite different from what we are seeing in other polling units. At least we visited close to 10 polling units so far. And then this particular polling unit seems to be a lot different from what we had experienced early this morning. A lot of voters are still here. Some party agents are here. Also, some electorates are still here waiting behind to hear the result of the election. We have also spoken with the candidate himself and is very confident on the outcome of the elections. We've also spoken to, I know from what we had earlier, we spoke with the candidate of the People's Democratic Party at his own polling unit, where he also expressed confidence on the outcome of the election. So far, so good. The turnout here is quite impressive from what we had so far, but it's still not as much as anyone would have expected it to be. I mean, in an election that is expected to have over 100,000 people, we only have people coming in beats to come to cast their vote. And a lot of, for a place where election is being held, where the police have said that there will be no movement, we've seen a high level of vehicular movement and human activities going on here. Some of the shops are open, vehicles. We even have some commercial buses and tricycles flying the roads and picking up passengers going to other parts of Lagos State. And it looks as though the restriction on movement is not so.
Also, News Central's Omolola Ololade covered the election in Surulere, and she gave us the updates.
Here at Ward 08, and that's in, polling unit 14 here at Elizabeth Memorial Fowler High School in Surulere, where, of course, the former House of Representatives representing Surulere constituency, voted. That's I'm talking about Afemighie Jerry, who is now the chief of staff to President Tinubu. He's just left some few minutes ago and addressed the press. He voted here and addressed the press. And prior to that, we had a few number of people come around to vote. And there's so much security presence here. There's high level of security presence. There's so much people voting here compared to the other polling unit that we visited in other parts.
We now cross live to Plateau State, where our correspondent Chizoba Anyonwe, who has been monitoring events, now gives us an update. Chizoba, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
So what has been the situation since the start of voting there?
Well, in some areas, especially in Jos North local government area, most of the wards I visited, I observed that there was very, very low voter turnout, because some of them that were able to speak off camera said that the vote doesn't count again in this country, and that is their own individual opinions. Some others were expressing sad feelings that because the PDP was lately excluded from participating in this election, they felt there was no need going to cast their votes, So that also dampened their spirit. But some others were out, like in Jos South, that we also visited, and some other areas. In fact, many wards in Jos South noticed a high turnout of these voters, and they have cast their votes. But here in particular, you can see some voters behind me. It's been a moment of rancor here, because they said that they were out here since morning, ready to vote and be accredited and all that. But unfortunately, the people that came with the electoral materials came with just about 100 of these materials, and there are over 1,000 of them here waiting to vote. So they said, since they are less than what they are supposed to use for the votes, they would rather not vote. And unfortunately, we've not seen any security personnel here, probably to be on standby in case anything unlawful comes up. But generally in the state, especially where those the elections are taking place, we saw in so many wards heavy security presence on the roads. Most roads are very, very scanty. Well, of course, with some other security agencies, to making sure that there's no breakdown of law and order, and then people stayed back home if they were not voting in those areas. But it's been peaceful anyway.
So what has been the response of the electoral officials in that particular axis of the state when the electorate said that they would not vote because voting materials are lesser than the accredited numbers? Have they said anything? Are they going back to give updates to their bosses?
Actually, there was no, let me say, INEC official here at the time, but the core member that is here handling this was saying that, okay, let her go back and report and then probably come back with the number of materials that will be used for this exercise. But unfortunately, it's very funny, but it is not, because the voters have said she's not leaving this place. They have said she's not, so it's just like she's being held hostage here, but there's no violent attacks on anyone. But they said she's not living here until all the materials are here for them to cast their vote so that they are not disenfranchised.
All right, thank you so much, Chizoba Anyonwe, for giving us the updates. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Let's talk about security issues now. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has set up a 7-man fact-finding committee to look into the causes of the recurrent violent attacks that have bedeviled some parts of Nigeria. The committee was inaugurated by General Musa in Abuja, where he urged the committee to ensure a high level of professionalism with a view to enthroning peace in the country. After Plateau, the committee will also visit Taraba, Benue and Cross River states. News Central's Chizobanyowe reports.
The committee, consisting of retired and serving military officers, have 6 men and a woman who doubles as the special technical advisor to the governor of Borno State. They are saddled with the responsibility of finding lasting solutions to a series of incidents in troubled areas of Nigeria.
We are going to break down our detailed recommendation, even studying past reports on Plateau, so that we know what at the federal government level what can be done, at the state level what can be done, and within our own system too, what can be done. We want lasting peace. And it's also interesting to note that the yearnings of all the people, the stakeholders we have shared views with, everybody is yearning for an enduring peace. Generations yet unborn will not forgive us if we don't act.
If this committee would wipe away the tears of many Nigerians, then all measures will be put in place to support them.
I therefore want to appeal to you what you have already done and what you will yet do, that to remind you that the outcome of your study and advice would determine the future of many lives. It's therefore an onerous responsibility that has been bestowed upon you, but I'm confident that you will acquit yourselves honorably.
The fact-finding team was also at the palace of the chairman of the state's traditional council.
Please, our appeal. We want to belong to Nigeria. We are Nigerians. We want to stay at peace with everybody staying in our territory. But let us be very honest in addressing this security issue, so that we may all live in peace. We shouldn't be looking at the issues from a certain perspective. All of us want peace. There's nobody who doesn't want peace.
At the end of this assignment, recommendations are expected, while implementation of same is expected from all stakeholders. In Jos for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowe.
It's more than 7 months after the implementation of a new foreign exchange regime. This managed float by President Bola Tinubu's administration of the Naira has yet to regain its value. The consistent free fall of Nigeria's national currency has left many wondering if the central bank has lost control. In this report, Perpetual Fasami Peter highlights the hopes and fears of Nigerian business owners.
I was told that the rate dollar is now 1,600. It's so barbaric, very bad. I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to go. In fact, before, if I want to go to market, I would be happy that, yes, I want to go and buy things to sell and I will make gain. But these days, my heart will be panting that if I get to market, the money will increase. So it's very bad. They should do something about it, because this can lead to depression. And from depression, it can lead to death.
Because now you just saw on the news that they've increased the cargo rates. So that's another problem, because now those who have cargo already in Nigeria, they can't clear.
This has been the plight of many businesses in Nigeria, as the expected unification of Nigeria's exchange rates continues to prove either elusive or counterproductive. On Monday, January 29, 2024, the Naira closed at 1,348 against the greenback after the FMDQ Security Exchange reviewed the methodology used for the calculation of its rates. This marked the beginning of further lows as the Naira continued to depreciate further in the official market. Furthermore, the Apex Bank has issued circulars to authorized dealers and commercial banks on financial market price transparency, warning them against engaging in sharp practices.
The blame has to go to the regulators themselves, the CBN, because you are the one that also give final approval for some of this bank or for all this bank audited report. You saw those liquidity in terms of dollar savings. You didn't say anything. You woke up one morning because the FX rate has gone up. Then you begin to say, "Oh, look, bank, you're having too much excess in dollars." But again, it's a short-term measure. What I think, because all these are administrative tools to bring down the exchange rate. But what will sustain it is the monetary policy decision that you are going to make.
It is no news that the Central Bank of Nigeria has been intervening in the forex market in a bid to manage liquidity after paying several backlogs amounting to north of $2 billion in the course of 5 months since September 5. Nothing seems to have changed. Now, foreign airlines insist that only a fraction of their monies have been paid, while the naira has continued to fall freely with no restraint.
Attract FX, direct foreign investors, portfolio investors, crude oil sell, Nigeria in the diaspora, non-oil sector. You just need to find a way to attract FX. Make sure you have liquidity in the system. No investor will come to your economy where your currency is very volatile and not stable. So they want to come at a stable rate and exit at that rate, and make profit.
Beyond the numbers and policies, the naira's fall has real human consequences. Businesses struggle, livelihoods are threatened, and uncertainty hangs heavy. As the debate continues, one thing remains clear: the decisions made today will shape the lives of millions of Nigerians for years to come. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Perpetua Fasami Peter.
The Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Agency of the Lagos State Government organized a strategic engagement with distinguished traditional rulers within the state to escalate collective action to curb violence against women and girls in Nigeria. Bettina Nwili reports.
In Nigeria, traditional and religious leaders have been at the forefront of the abolishment of harmful practices, including the money wife practice in Ebonyi, Southeast Nigeria, abolition of female genital mutilation in Osun, Southwest Nigeria, and the pronouncement on deposing of leaders found to harbor perpetrators and hide cases of SGBV in Sokoto, Northwest Nigeria. Studies reveal that traditional and religious leaders play a central role in addressing harmful gendered norms and practices and could act as gatekeepers to enact meaningful social shifts in addressing sexual and gender-based violence and eliminating harmful practices.
In my area, it's not that too rampant, but once in a while, when they brought those children or those adults to my attention, I called on my chiefs and would sit down and try to manage it.
My domain is actually really very porous. We have cases of such almost on a daily basis, but I never knew this kind of agencies exist that I would have channeled my concern to. In most cases, we usually call the divisional police station covering my kingdom, and I come to realize that most of the people that commit this kind of acts are always kind of the powerful in the society, or probably they have backup of the powerful people in the society, so they go scot-free in most cases.
The objectives of the session included deliberating on the role of traditional rulers in collectively shifting norms that perpetuate gender-based violence and identifying avenues for effective prevention, response, and sustained investment.
What we expect from traditional rulers is we want them to play that role, amongst which is protect the community, eliminate things that are bad. We have some of them cultural, some of our cultures are very good, but here comes the time when let's go over some of those cultures. The bad ones, let's take them off.
Traditional rulers are in a strong position to work with their communities to address the harmful cultural practices that perpetuate negative gender norms and harm women and girls' health and safety. Working with, rather than against, traditional leaders in Nigeria is crucial to ending violence against women and girls and promoting women's empowerment. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nweli.
The news continues in Southern Africa, where the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission says it is 100% ready to conduct by-elections this Saturday, with the distribution of ballot papers already done. ZEC Vice Chairperson Rodney Kiwa said that about 230,400 ballot papers have been printed for the 6 constituencies, while 136,850 ballot papers were printed for local authority by-elections. 552 polling stations will be used in the by-elections. 6 National Assembly constituencies will be having by-elections, that is Seke, Goromozi South, Palendaba, Tashabalala, Chegutu West, Zimba East, and Komba North. On Friday, disputed CCC Interim Secretary General Sengezo Shabangu successfully obtained leave of the High Court to execute the court's judgment granted 2 weeks ago, barring the 23 CCC party candidates from contesting in the by-elections. And away from that, the World Bank is investigating allegations of human rights violations raised in the implementation of Tanzania's $150 million tourism resource management project after authorities failed to settle disputes with communities the project affected. The investigation was formally launched on December 14, 2023, following confirmation from the bank's Accountability Mechanism Department that the 2 complainants who have not been named rejected government proposal for negotiation for resettlement of the dispute. According to the bank, the investigation is expected to be completed by June, and the findings will be submitted to the bank's top management for further action. In Central Africa, several people were injured on Friday after 2 explosive devices fell on a primary school in Mugunga, a peripheral district of Goma, the capital of North Kivu province in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The provisional report said some of the injured are in critical condition and have been taken to surrounding hospitals as the school building was destroyed by the explosions. Since last week, at least 3 people have been killed in other explosions against civilian households in the town of Sake, located in a few kilometers away from Goma. Fighting between the DRC military and the M23 rebels have raged near Goma over the past weeks. The United Nations World Food Programme has appealed for $540 million to help 6 million people displaced by conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. WFP said it had to embark on extreme prioritization, leaving millions of vulnerable people without food assistance as needs continue to outpace available resources in the DRC. The UN Office for Humanitarian Coordination said last September that of $2.25 billion required for the Congo's displaced, only $747 million was available as mid-August. Eastern DRC's Ituri, North Kivu, and South Kivu provinces have been plagued by deadly violence for nearly 30 years. In East Africa, the African Union's peacekeeping force in Somalia, where Al-Shabaab jihadists are waging an insurgency, said the second phase of a drawdown involving 3,000 troops has been completed after a 4-month delay, following several major reversals against the Al-Qaeda-linked insurgents. The Mogadishu government had requested a 3-month technical pause in the drawdown scheduled to be carried out by last September. The first 2 phases of the withdrawal saw a reduction of 5,000 soldiers. Some 14,600 members joined from Burundi, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda are still deployed in Somalia. Under a UN calendar, ATMIS will have pulled out totally from the Horn of Africa nation by the end of the year, handing over to Somalia security forces. In the Gaza Strip on Saturday, as fears grew of a push into Rafah, the southern city teeming with civilians uprooted by the nearly 4-month war. A constant barrage of airstrikes and tank fire rocked Khan Yunis in southern Gaza that has been the focus of the Israeli offensive. The Health Ministry and Hamas-run Gaza said more than 100 people were killed across the Palestinian territory overnight, mostly women and children. The Israeli army said its forces killed dozens of terrorists in northern and central Gaza over the past 24 hours. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians displaced by the fierce fighting have fled south to Rafah since the outbreak of the war, with their tents cramming spaces along streets and in camps. People have gathered around rows of body bags at Najjar Hospital in Rafah, southern Gaza, after strikes on the city, with the Israel-Hamas war nearing its 4th month and fears rising of a military push into Rafah. According to the World Health Organization, the city that had been home to 200,000 people now hosts more than half of Gaza's 2.4 million population. Witnesses in Rafah said 12 people were killed in an airstrike on a house owned by the Ijazi family. Civilians who fled to Rafah have been pushed up against the border with Egypt, trying to avoid parts of the city exposed to the fighting in nearby Khan Yunis.
بنك هدفهم واضح، بس الأطفال الصغار، أطفال كبار السن، النساء، ما فيش لهم بنك هدف غير هيك. حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل فيهم، حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل. أطفال نايمين ما لقينا اللي هي الضروقة علينا. كل الردم غرفة النوم كلها هي فوق أولادي. الحمد لله إنه ربنا سلمني بثلاث وراح منهم واحد. الحمد لله. عند الله عصفور، الحمد لله شهيد في الجنة، الحمد لله. أكثر من هيك ما أقدرش.
Talking business now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the discontinuation of daily debits for the cash reserve ratio and the adoption of a new system. This updated mechanism aims to improve banks' capacity for planning, monitoring, and record alignment with the CBN. The implementation will occur in phases. In Phase 1, existing rates, that's about 32.5% for commercial and 10% for merchants, will be applied to weekly increases in banks' deposits. Phase 2 will see banks failing to meet the minimum loan-to-deposit ratio to face a 50% CRR levy on their lending shortfall. The CBN stated that it would provide further details and justifications for applied charges. Moving on now, foreign investor sentiment towards the Nairobi Securities Exchange remains cautious, with 178.2 million shillings, that's about $1.1 million, withdrawn in the last month. This marks the 5th consecutive month of outflows, extending a trend of capital flights that began last year. The sell-off is attributed to a disparity in returns. Investments in advanced economies, where central banks have implemented significant interest rate hikes, now offer more attractive yields compared to emerging and frontier markets like Kenya. This shift in the global financial landscape has prompted foreign investors to seek better returns elsewhere. Overall, foreign investors were net sellers at the NSE in 2023, resulting in 21.2 billion shillings, that's about $132 million in net portfolio outflows. In sports, Nigeria's Super Eagles soared to victory against Angola in the 2023 AFCON, securing a spot in the semi-finals with a 41st-minute goal from Ademola Lookman. Senate President Godswill Akwa-Ibom commended the team, saying they are unstoppable. Players Semi Ajayi and Ojo Olorunleke also expressed joy over the win, highlighting the team's defense and outstanding performance as their efforts on the field wasn't in vain.
Happy man to this. I'm very happy. Very happy. Nigeria is a very large country. With over 250 million people. It's a great day for the country. We have now entered into the semi-finals.
Yeah, the semi-final.
Angola couldn't stop us. I think we are unstoppable.
It was a really good performance from the boys. I think we defended really well. We managed to keep the opponent out, and we managed to take enough of our opportunities to come away with the win. So we're really happy. There's top teams all over the continent, and I think the quality is only getting better and better with each tournament. So it's been really tough. We've had to be on our A game every single game, and we'll continue to do so for the rest of the tournament. Of course, we came here to win. We didn't come out to just to participate, but we're not looking that far ahead just yet. We've still got a massive game on Wednesday to look forward to, so our full focus will be going towards that.
I feel good, and I feel so happy that we won the game, because it's a must-win match for us. talking about how hard we've really worked to ensure that we come good at the end of the day, and thank God that our effort didn't go in vain. Yeah, as you can see, we're improving every day by day, game after game. So it doesn't matter who we face, we are determined, and as you can see, the guys are ready. We don't care who we play. The most important thing is for us to keep our cool, remain focused, and keep the determination and the same spirit of winning going.
We also tell you that Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives of Nigeria, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, says that the Super Eagles of Nigeria have brought joy and pride to the nation with their qualification for the semi-final of the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. The Eagles defeated their Angolan opponents 1-0 in the first quarter of the final match of the tournament on Friday, thanks to a goal scored by forward Ademola Lookman. Speaking exclusively to our correspondent, Favor Itwa, afterwards, the Deputy Speaker stated that he and other members of the National Assembly were in Côte d'Ivoire to support the team and were overwhelmed by the Super Eagles' performance in the match.
We cannot be more joyful than the experience we had today. Well, while we met with them, encouraged them before they got into the stadium, we told them that the nation was behind them, just like Mr. President said. We told them that Nigeria needed this joy, this pride, this dignity, this victory. And
that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. Federal state legislative by-elections holding in 26 Nigerian states as INEC probes election disruptions in Enugu, Akwa-Ibom, Kano. Zimbabwe's electoral body has expressed readiness for by-elections. Finally, we told you that African Union Peacekeeping Force has completed the second phase of drawdown in Somalia. You can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.